Take a look at the parcel editing tool within GeoPack Survey. To do this, I will go to Geometry, Tools, and then Parcel Editor. This will bring up both my Koga window, if it's not already active, and my Map Check Store Parcel tool. I will go ahead and minimize the Koga window, and then describe the functions and buttons in the Map Check Store Parcel tool. The first thing I'll need to do is set my preferences. So I will click the Preferences button, and I will choose two different preferences here. When storing curves, I will choose to say Store Curves Only, and I do have the option to store the PC, PT, and the center of curve, as well as the curve itself. For my closure option, I can base my closure on internal bearing and distances from the GPK file, or the displayed bearing and distances that are displayed in my Map Check dialog box. I will use the internal bearings and distances and then click OK to save my preferences. Next, I will need to set a point of beginning or starting coordinate by clicking the Start NEZ button. As you can see, I've already filled in a start number of point 100 with an assumed northing and easting, northing being 20,000 and easting being 10,000. If I desired, I could use a data point or DP to choose an item that is already in my DGN file, or even to snap to an existing point that is displayed. Once my point information is filled out, I will click the X to close the starting coordinate dialog box, and now I'm ready to set some other parameters. Over to the left of the dialog box, you'll see where I can fill in my parcel name. In my case, I'll use a simple name of A1. And you'll also see next to the name field that if I had other parcels available, I could use the pull down arrow to click on those parcels and then click Load, which would load all that parcel information into my dialog box below. We're creating a new parcel, and so I simply type the name A1 into the parcel name portion of the dialog. Owner and Improvement are read-only fields that would be displayed when loading a parcel with those parameters. And further over to the right, I will set my curve parameters. And for our use here, I will set my curve to be arc and radius. So when entering any curves in the Map Check tool, I will enter an arc length and a radius for the curve, and GeoPack will calculate the other portions of the curve for me. The parcel A1 will be a parent tract, as opposed to a taken, easement, or a building. Now that we've set up the various parameters for the dialog box, we'll take a look at the bottom portion. The course description area displays any courses that are entered into the lower portion of the dialog box and allows us to highlight those various lines as if they were in a spreadsheet and either add to them, modify them, or delete them. The way this is set up is in a column type mode, in that we have a bearing column. Beneath that we have the area where we enter our bearings, a distance column, radius and arc for curves because those were the parameters we chose, and you'll see chord and delta are grayed out because those are solved by GeoPack for us. We will have a curve direction column and also a column for the point or curve name that we wish to store at the end of the courses we enter. I'm going to go ahead and enter my first course, which happens to be a northwest bearing, and that is a northwest bearing of 32, 22, 07. And I'm being careful to enter spaces between my degrees, minutes, and seconds. My distance along that course is 192 feet, 0.29. After entering that and filling out that I would like to store point 101, I will click this first icon, which adds the currently filled out course after any existing courses that may have been highlighted underneath our course description. Next, I will enter a curve information for our parcel, and that curve information is going to have a radius of 844.11 feet, an arc length of 27.80 feet, and we will call that curve 1. I will click this first button again because I wish to add my curve course after the currently highlighted course. and that information will be populated in the course description area of the dialog box above. My next course happens to be a northeast bearing, and the value for that is 55 degrees, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds, with a distance of 227.11 feet. Once again, I will add this course after my current course, after inputting that I wish to store point number 102. You will see Geopack automatically increment the point number for me after this course. And now I will enter my next course, which is a southeast bearing of 34 degrees, 6 minutes, and 38 seconds, with a distance of 219.97 feet. And I will enter that after my currently highlighted course. My last course, or closing course, is a southwest bearing of 55 degrees, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds, with a distance of 234.21. And I will also add that after my currently highlighted course. Next, I would like to check my parcel closure, and I will do that by clicking the Closure button and then going up to my window pull down from MicroStation and reopening my coordinate geometry window. In my coordinate geometry window, what you'll see are the various lines that make up the parcel closure information, such as my starting coordinates, the first course, my curve information, and my other courses, all the way to the closing course. My ending coordinates were 200ths off on the northing and 400ths on the easting. And then I have a error direction of south 563960 west with a total distance error of 0.048, which gives me an 1 over x closure of 1 in approximately 19,000. If this is acceptable for my cases, which it is, I will go ahead and minimize the Kogo window and then click the Store Parcel icon. If I was not happy with that closure, or I had input some courses incorrectly, I could go back and change those simply by highlighting them, changing the various information, and then clicking this icon, which is to modify my information. For example, let's say I wanted to change this distance to 192.32. I would change that in the lower portion of the dialog box and then click my Modify button. Then that change would be reflected in the upper portion of the Map Check dialog box. If I were to have made a mistake by perhaps highlighting one of these courses and then clicking one of these Add icons, I could simply highlight the incorrect course and then click this minus button to delete that course from my listing. Then I would go back and click Closure again, reopen my Kogo window, take a look at the newly calculated closure. In this case it's actually a little bit worse, 1 in 15,000. And then if I were happy with that, I would simply click Store Parcel, and that would store a parcel in my GPK and also display that in my DGN. One thing to be very careful of when using this Store Parcel tool is to make sure that you do not exit either this dialog box or the Kogo window without storing your parcel. Even if the parcel is incorrect or perhaps incomplete because you have more courses to enter, click Store Parcel and you can always come back after closing this dialog box to the same dialog and then say Load to load your parcel information. If you close the Kogo window or the Map Check tool prematurely, you will lose all of your work. Now that I've stored this parcel, I can close both of these dialog boxes. I will not save my Kogo session in this case. And then I will fit my view to show the parcel stored in my DGN file.